How you doing? Nice you could join us. I think this is Log Furniture 101 rebooted episode. I think this is episode 5, I think. Anyhow, this is where we get to make something again. And this time the something is extremely unique. Look at this. This is like the most simple design in the world. It's amazing. And if you notice the legs, there's no tenon on the legs. It's just a flat cut to a piece of plywood. It's absolutely amazing. This is our design. I really like it. It took a while to develop this. I think we're the only ones in the world that can make these at this time. To put this hoop into the legs, it's extremely, oh, the machine that does this is magnificent. I just really like it. We're going to find a way around the machine, I think, and we're going to approach it from a little bit different angle, but the one we're going to do first isn't going to be this tall. It's just going to be short, and there isn't even going to be a hoop in it. There isn't going to be rungs on it. There's going to be legs, because we're making a short bench for the grandkids, you know, the littles, so they got something to sit on with a cushy top. So, and if you notice, take a close look. This is one of the first ones that we made. And if you look close, you can see where it got screwed up. It did. See this leg? It looks a little bit, its nose goes south at the end. It does. See that? It kind of goes, whoop, it takes the nose, has a hook to the left or a hook to the right. It goes that way anyhow. Every one of them is exactly the same, twisted to the side. Because even though this is an extremely simple design, it's a challenge to make, to get it together so a little kid, one of the grandkids, doesn't walk up to you and say, "Hey,
Papa, what's wrong with this bar stool? How come you put his legs on crooked?"
So if you don't want one of the littles to walk up to you and ask you a question like that, oh, that wasn't so good. There is a way to do this. We found out as it went along. You need to have it in a fixture. Oh no, we got to make another fixture. Yes, we need another fixture, but most of it is, well, you need a piece of plywood. Oh, I had a piece of 1 inch thick. 1 inch thick, 18 inches wide, 24 inches long, fastened on top of, I nailed it and glued it. It's solid. Nailed it and glued it to another piece of plywood so it would be stable and flat, no twist in it. And then, what did this piece of plywood get? It got exactly located middle. And lines, circles drawn around the middle, exactly precise. And then on this it got, well, first it got square marks, an X on the piece of plywood, precisely X. 90-degree corners, exact X drawn onto the piece of plywood. All square to the piece of plywood. So wherever I measure from the piece of plywood, the middle is in the middle, in the middle of the X, in the middle, in the middle, in the middle of the X, and then circles drawn with a compass around the middle with marks, 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch. Oh, I only marked the 10-inch mark so I wouldn't have numbers all over it. But I put a 10-inch circle, 10-inch radius, okay, 20-inch diameter circle, 10-inch radius, and lines drawn on the plywood. What will all make sense later, really. It'll all make sense later, it really will. Like this one. Oh. This one, it's steel. Oh, this, it's 12 inches long, and this piece of 5/8 plate on the bottom. Look at that. It's heavy. It's got to be like 12 pounds. 4x4 1/4-inch wall steel tube. It's indestructible. You could make a tank out of this stuff. Okay, but, oh, it's got holes drilled in it, and it still gets my fingers dirty. So we drilled the holes, welded it together, and go, you know, if we just do and make this out of steel, there's going to be a bunch of people that might be kind of difficult. So let's do this part of the fixture, this part of it, because the rest of it is fairly easy out of wood. Let's make this part, we'll make one out of wood. Take a couple 2x4s, start out with like 14 inches long, and a couple pieces of plywood, 3/4-inch plywood, and then a little cut here and a little cut there, a few screws to put it together so that a 4x4 fits inside of it. Look at this. That's all. This is part of making it work, so it doesn't get twisted like this. And even with a 4x4, you gotta be pretty sneaky, so it doesn't get a little wonky like this one here. With the 4x4 in here, and it has to be able to slide it. It doesn't have to be tight. It can't be tight. It has to be a little bit loose, so it holds everything together while the bar stool gets put together, and it can be adjusted so that it isn't out of alignment. You don't got to go to the bone cruncher guy, the chiropractor, but once it's all set, it's too late to do something like that. It's all growing together. So we're going to get it to grow together correctly today. So let's move on to the next part of making something. Oh yeah, and it isn't nearly so demanding. The wood, it doesn't have to be, dried in the desert, bone dry. The wood could be, 30% moisture content. It'll still work just fine. It's time to cut some legs. This is where things get a little picky, and where opinion, in this case, your opinion matters, because your opinion is everything when it's right here. So, what difference does all this make? We've got this, so our table, it tips up, because this stuff tapers how much? Well, here, look. this, I picked out the real high taper, gnarly white cedar. So on the end here, this end, 30, that's 3 inches right there. And 23 inches later, it's 2.5. So it gets a 1/2 inch smaller just on like 2 feet. So I have this, my table set up. Oh, and the table is tipped. So it matches the basic taper of the legs that I chose. But that's only half of the equation. Because the other half is, look it's got big old knobby bumps on it. Okay? So when it sits on here, I have to put a spacer. And a spacer, 3/4 inch, same on each end. So, okay. And then this piece of plywood here is nice and straight, and it's up against the fence. So I can look at this and go, oh, look at that, and get it so that it matches or gets it so it's equal. But what way are we going to make it all equal? It is so. It can be really confusing until you realize that, oh, I've got the saw set at 15 degrees. So this side right over here, the side that's going to be right here, that's the side you're going to see. And we have to be consistent. Whatever we do, we need to be consistent with what we do in the way that we make these, the way that we cut them. So when it goes together, it's all the same, balanced, equal, okay? So whatever it is, it's consistent. So we look at it and go, oh, it's pretty straight, but everything's got a bow in it, but what way do I want to see, okay? The bow, we're going to say, oh, look at that. It landed right on a knot. Oh, I got to turn that. So it goes, and that's the side that's going to see that side. And if it's got a knobby knot in it, because you want to see, oh, you say, I want to see this side here. That's the one I want to see when it's all done. Okay? So we'll turn it like that, put it down here so it's, I'm looking down at the 1x4. I'm looking down at the 1x4 to help me get it equal, balanced, middle, centered, okay? And hold down tight. And, oh, that's still, I gotta move up a little bit or it won't. One leg down. Look at that. It is just spot on. Okay. Of course it's perfect. It's easy to get it perfect. And once you find the formula that works for you, so it goes, that's this side, okay, right there. This is the side that you're going to see. The leg is going to tip that way, tips out towards you, okay? So this is the side you're going to see. And let's see if we can get another one right. Except this time I'm going to put on earmuffs because that's kind of loud. You like that side? Oh, look at this bushy thing. look at that. Isn't that is beautiful? Oh, that's sexy beautiful. So we got all of those cut. Now I'm going to cut them for length, and we need to be pretty close to the same, that it helps. So we're just going to go measure up 20 inches, put a mark, and I'll just turn it so that's the long point. You know, I'm going to go. Oh, yeah, I got the saw set back to 90 degrees. now that we have this magnificent fixture together, is there anything else that we need to do before we can actually make something with the thing? Well, a little bit, not much. We buffed out enough legs, chose, cut, and buffed enough legs to do three of the little benches with one leg left over. And in the very top of the legs, we need to go to the exact, what looks like the exact center, drill a hole about 1/4 of an inch deep, 1/8 inch in diameter, and this will be for the number one locating pin that goes in. Because each leg gets only one screw in it to start with before it gets locked in forever. So we drill the little hole, and then since there's 3 benches, and all of these legs are different, 3 little chairs for the littles, they need to be grouped. So we get each group, what makes each chair, each bench. So they're similar, so all the legs look the same. You know, like you don't want 2 different legs on you. I want 2 different legs on me, but they need to match. I want my legs to match. I don't want, something mismatched legs on me. I want the same. So we need to match up the legs so they get separated out, and then glue on everything. Not if we coat this and coat that, then you'll see at what point. You don't want it so it drips down the leg. It can be a pain. So a little glue on everything, and then the screws that we're using. This is really important. Okay, these used. They are GRK number 10, 4-inch long. And what's unique about them is, we'll see if we can get this to look really close at, can you see the cut? The cut here in the way that this screw is made, it cuts a path. It cuts the path for it to make, so it doesn't split. It's very important, so it doesn't split. They're 4 inches long. And there's going to be 5 in each leg. 5 screws 4 inches long in each leg. So something that, I like these. They work very good. So I've used a couple others, but they still have the thing on the end that cuts the path. That cuts the path on the way. You don't want to just put a regular, something screw in it that doesn't cut the path for it, because it'll split it, cause a problem. Because you can use this system on, stuff that even has the bark on it. Birch legs with the bark on it, ironwood legs with the bark on, oak legs, whatever. But you probably wouldn't want to do a birch, oak, elm, and maple all in the same piece. It might look a little silly. So we'll glue stuff up, drill the holes, separate stuff out, and then actually put something together. Hey, guess what? It worked. Aren't I glad it worked? I'm really glad that it worked. It was a little bit slightly different than the fixture that had built for making like this one here. Same principle, but we needed to make sure that the nose didn't go south at the end. Here we've got 13 inches tall, 15 inches tall, 17 inches tall. The littles will love it. They'll think it's great because they'll think it was made just for them. And it was. How do you like that? So next on the agenda, well, we've got to put a stain on it. A stain and a finish and a cushy top. And then we're going to test, make one, maybe two, and test them. See how strong they are. At what point, how many pounds have to be on them when they're on a cement floor for them to collapse? How much does it take? Because everything is leverage in these. There's much less leverage for it breaking on this one than on this one. And it's all proportional. You know, if you double the height of it, the leverage, the breaking point doubles. The leverage doubles on it. So we're going to test them and see just how strong they are. Not on carpet, because you could put an elephant. An elephant could put 1 foot on each of these and stand there like at the circus. And they wouldn't break if it was on carpet. But on cement, on a slippy floor, we're going to see just what it takes. So until then, enjoy the journey.